Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey.
Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome to this 11/11 show. We've already done an 11/11 prep to do some clearing with Pleiadian light language, which is the episode right before this. But this one has a few more messages that I wanted to, I didn't want to bring forward, but we wanted to bring forward for you. So before we get into all of that, let us get situated and invite in the guides that overlight this show, wrapping us all in love light and light love. Archangel Metatron, Archangel Michael, and whatever other guides want to make themselves known. For this, we are working with, I forgot it, Isis and Osiris as well for our guides for November, as well as Goddess Iris. So we're going to be bringing in some messages here as we get ourselves just kind of set up. Today I'll be using Shaman's Drum, that's my deck. In addition to any clarifying cards from this deck, Magic and Light by Sue Lyon. I really love this deck too. We are going to light our Samhain candle. Let's see. Can I do this easily? In a weird, awkward fashion? Probably not. So we've been working with this candle, or working with this candle for as long as it wants to work with us. I can easily get it back over here. Oh, there we go. We'll gaze into that in a little bit. So here's what happened. Right after this, me talking to you and showing you some cards, I recorded a whole episode at the river this morning in the fog. And there's also messages there. But when I came back to, I didn't really look at it. I just kind of thought about what we talked about. I thought maybe I would come on now, which is later in the afternoon, the same day, and just draw some cards and put this on first and see how the cards, if the cards want to say anything else in addition to what I spoke about in that video. My goodness. I love my, okay, you'll be proud of me. I have no plastic right now. My water bottle. I like the way that looks too. Okay. So let me think here. The theme for this 11/11 gateway, and we've talked about it already in 2, maybe even 3 episodes prior to this. And if you want the light language healing, you just have to scroll back to the episode prior to this one, and you can get all that fun. I was really on a high roll there. But the theme for today that we were focused on now and in the fog video that I did is Brother in Darkness, overcoming negativity through divine feminine power and surrendering through, divine feminine power, surrendering to the divine. And what I spoke about this morning somewhat was about surrendering, but there was a very strong message about getting very clear mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually before the end of the year. And it makes a lot of sense now, what I talked about in that video, and you just keep watching this and it'll just go into that one. But I just was listening to the astrology for the Sagittarius new moon eclipse in December, And it's many of the same themes that I talked about in that fog video. I call it fog video because it was very foggy this morning when I was recording, and the river looked amazing. But I want to just drop in because that video talked about, just help me formulate my words. That video talked, yes, they're saying stay on track. That video talked a lot about getting clear, like there's things that you may not be aware of, things you can't see, things that even you as an intuitive or an empath or a master healer or whoever you might be that watches this, you may think that you're clear, that you've cleared out or healed a lot of different things that you need to, but the overall theme there was that there's still something that you're missing, that you're not seeing, and it was, obviously very metaphorical that we went and recorded it in the fog, that needs to be cleared out before the end of the year. And as much as I work with energy and do my own energy work, I've gotten multiple messages over the past couple of days from Spirit that there's something I'm not seeing that needs to be cleared out. So I actually did, after I recorded the video this morning, I did book in with a master healer for myself because I'm like, well, I don't want to take any XX baggage into 2022. So let's get rid of let's get out whatever needs to get out that I'm not, I'm not aware of or whatever it is. So right now I'm going to draw 3 cards, or however many cards. I want 3, but we'll see if they give us anything more. From Shaman's Drum. Just to see if there's anything else that goes along with that. Brother in Darkness. Anything else with the 1111? Because they just gave me 3. Anything else with the 1111 that we haven't already touched on? So the first one that comes out, I'm just going to look at them, is slow. By taking your time, you will enjoy more. I'm going to do them all at one time. So that's the turtle and slow. By taking your time, you will enjoy more. The next one that's out is stork spirit. The time has come to birth new plans or project. There is much to be done, so get ready. And they're all animals. Wolf clan. You will find the true meaning of camaraderie and companionship when you join in with this clan. I have a special affinity for the wolf clan. I have a few guides who are wolf shifters. So obviously slow is pretty self-explanatory. By taking your time, you will enjoy more. So slowing down. And it's not like slowing down, like stop what you're doing. I think there's a little misconception sometimes there that when we're told to slow down, it means we should stop forward motion on our projects and stuff. And it's not that, but it's just like, again, they keep giving me this Rome wasn't built in a day kind of thing. Like, are you really enjoying yourself? Are you enjoying your work? Because this morning, like I was like, oh, I want to do a video. It was like 7 of Cups card came up, and it was like, well, I want to do a video for the community. I got to finish this book. I want to finish this card deck, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I got to just hurry up and do it all. And it's like, are you having fun doing it, or are you just going through the motions? Like if you're just hurrying to finish everything, then you're kind of missing out on the fun of actually doing it. Because I really enjoy, like, do I just want to get a deck done so I can put it out there and call it done? And a book written so I can put it out there and call it written and so I can start another book? It's like, no, I kind of want to enjoy the process. For me, very much so, it's about the process of creating. That's more exciting than the actual finishing of the thing when I think about it. So like, the process of creating a book for me is very exciting. Like I kind of live vicariously through the characters, and many things that they're doing as I'm writing start happening within and around me. And there's so many metaphors. You guys know about the metaphors and all that. I mean, we've read plenty of stories online and talked on the show and talked about metaphors. So a lot of things come out in my books that are teaching lessons and healing lessons for things that are happening to me in the process of writing it. And when I get to the end, I'm like always like, oh, I feel so satisfied that, and so like fun, like what a fun ride. We had a fun ride through this story, me and the helping spirits and the story friends that came through to write and channel the book with me. But then when I put it out there, I'm like, oh, it's done. It's out there. And I kind of want to keep going back to it again. Like, that's why, I come back and I'll do an audiobook or whatever. So it's like, let's enjoy ourselves. We know we have all these manifestations. We know we have stuff that we want to do. But don't stop working. Just make sure that you're just allowing yourself time to enjoy it, Spirit's saying. And then, of course, stork. Well, what happens when I don't know how this looks. I can't see myself because I've got my back camera working here on my phone. And so I don't know how you guys are seeing this or not. But stork spirit, the time has come to birth new plans or projects. There is much to be done, so get ready. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory. So new plans or projects are getting ready to be shown to you. So I think what's going to happen, let me just touch on this wolf clan and then I'll tell you what the story is here. Wolf clan, you will find the true meaning of camaraderie and companionship when you join in with this clan. This is like the tribe. I notice he's howling, he or she, I can't tell, is howling out a full moon. Let's just get a little clarifier for the wolf clan and then I'll tell you what I think. And then we'll let you listen to the fog video. Okay, so I'm going to bring out the Sioux Lion deck. Just get me Wolf Clan. What? Beauty within. This clarifies the Wolf Clan. All right, let's read it. Japanese sun goddess Amaterasu. In her anger toward her brother's pranks, Amaterasu, I'm probably saying it totally wrong, took her beauty, her light, into a cave and slammed the door. Her friends reminded her of her inner loveliness and she finally came out to let her light shine out to the world. How many times do we shove our own beauty into a box and start believing we are less than what our souls are? Our hearts come into the world exuding beauty. It is time to wake up your inner core and see the power of your beautiful self. The world awaits you, clothed in all your astonishing loveliness. And then the note says, notice the 8-sided mirror that reflected Amaterasu's true light back to her. And there's a cave. Whenever I get this card, it feels very Kuan Yin-ish. Just the colors. So this is your tribe. Okay. This is just calling you to your tribe and calling your tribe to you. So slow, we already talked about slow, stork spirit, new projects are coming. So I think what's going to happen is once you clear up whatever this is that needs to be removed from your auric field, from your soul essence before the end of the year, once that's gone, it's going to open up this space for all this new, for the fog to clear and for you to see a lot of things that can now be shown to you. And part of that is new plans, new projects, stuff you have to do, like the stork was. The stork is coming and bringing you new babies to birth. Oh, okay. The wolf clan, your tribe is coming, be it a physical tribe of people. Yeah. This morning it was very heavy on covens, like, when you start a coven, and I was like, what? We had Sisters for the Sword a while back, and I, for the longest time, wanted to make a private group of folks where we can do some more deeper work together that's off of YouTube. And you know, maybe that's it. Maybe once we clear some of this, once I clear whatever this dross is that's holding me down, then you know, I'll feel ready to open back up to that. I kind of tried that once before, and I just, just didn't, I don't know, didn't pan out. And then the beauty within, yeah, it looks like this all goes back to the video that you're going to see in just a minute. It looks like there's something you're holding deep within you, because the beginning of this card says, in her anger toward her brother's pranks, she took her beauty and her light into a cave and slammed the door. Her friends, her wolf clan, tried to remind her of her inner loveliness. And sometimes, like, this could be also like your guides, angels, are working with you, trying to remind you of how beautiful and lovely you are. And how many times do we shove our beauty into a box and start believing we are less than what our souls are? It just feels like there's a lot of clearing around something, other thought forms or thoughts that you formed about yourself based on what someone else has done to you. We'll put it that, done to you. Even though we know that you create the thought forms, like you could have just like brushed it all off. You know, when you're empathic and you're sensitive and all that, like stuff, sometimes you just take it to heart. And especially if it was a traumatic experience or it was something you weren't expecting to occur, no matter when it occurred, and I won't go too much more into that, I'll let you listen to In the Fog, but no matter when it occurred, be it other lifetimes or this lifetime, and sometimes it's both, because the thing in this lifetime occurred again because you didn't clear what happened in the other lifetime, and so the same experiences keep following you around. But once you clear this thing, it seems like it's like this, there's going to be a defining moment, Spirit's saying. So this, and it's not that everybody needs to go see a healer. Like maybe you just recognize this pattern in yourself and you're able to clear it. Apparently, like I kind of know what it is, but you know, maybe I don't completely know. And I touched on this before too, so I don't want to go into it again. Is sometimes you need that, that other set of eyes that's more not tied into what's going on to be able to help you see. And that's what, you know, master healers do. So it looks like it's the same messages, very much so, confirming what we talked about before. But Spirit's using these weird words. It behooves you, like I would never say behoove. It behooves you to get the work done and get the healing done. And I'm not talking about like going, well, maybe for some of you it may be going to see a medical doctor, but I'm talking more about it's energy work that needs to be done. It could be, they're saying, done in conjunction with needing some medication for some of you. Like that's all your journey and up to you what you feel like you need. But it could be stuff that's done in conjunction with Western medicine, but definitely it's energy work that also needs to occur. So when they're talking about energy work, they're talking about, you know, see like a Reiki master, a shamanic practitioner, whoever you feel like, you know, you would want to get energy work done by. It definitely is energy that needs to be cleared. So let me just see if there's anything else. Okay, so they're saying that's it. So this is really an adjunct, and I guess they just wanted you to like see me because I don't appear in the video at all. It's just my voice. They're like your clan needs some FaceTime with you. All right, here I am. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let you go on and listen to the other video. There are some amazing, beautiful nature scenes in that video, and we do a meditative walk. So just don't leave, and I'll just transition right into that. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you have a blessed and beautiful 11/11, and we'll see you again soon in the next video. Take care. Hello, friends. Hello. Good morning. I'll get myself a little bit situated here. I don't know why this My microphone is acting weird. I thought I would bring you down to one of my favorite spaces for this 11/11 episode. Before I start talking about 11/11 and the themes and all that, I wanted to invite in the guides that are overlighting the show. Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, to join me in the sacred space. This is a little bit of I don't know if the whole show will be this. We'll just see what I'm guided to do. But it's a little bit of a walking meditation. I don't have the stabilizer thing on the camera, so I apologize. It's a little bumpy, but that's what we got right now. I just didn't want to hassle with a lot of equipment. I need to check something here. All right. Having various issues. Microphone issues. All right, so I think I fixed that. So our guides are here. I'm walking around with a cup of hot cocoa and marshmallows on top in my love cup. And I'm going to just take you to some of my favorite little spots. Now, I looked at, before I left the house, I looked at the theme that came out for the 11/11. If you didn't see that, that's okay. There were 3 themes that were brought forward by Isis, Goddess Isis, for this episode, or for this month of November. I just saw 111 on the camera. The theme for this 11/11 episode is, it was Isis. It was themes all month long. I just want to get my head on straight. I just feel like I'm a little not clearly thinking here. Okay. So it was the brother in darkness, overcoming negative energy with divine feminine power. Now, I've already watched a few 11/11 readings and other people's interpretations of what's going on. I'm just asking the guides here to help me stay focused on whatever themes I most need to focus on for our collective that's watching now. And I've got some kind of silence in between all my words because it's so beautiful here. I just want you to also be able to enjoy the nature while I take sips of my cocoa. One thing that did come up was fog. You don't have all the answers yet. And it's quite interesting. They have me kind of going down this trail. I've got some guy coming along with a camera, so I'm trying to kind of avoid that. We'll walk towards some of these trees. So I have been seeing, and Spirit has been pushing at me. I want you to see this tree. Pushing at me the 5s, number 5, 555, 55. Oh, he's got a good camera. Good morning. And a lot of fives, like not just a few, but fives everywhere. I want you to see this tree. And I'm going to go up, up, up. And I saw 3, 4, 5, and I've been seeing a lot of sequential numbers. Portals. Okay, we're talking about portals. So I've been seeing a lot of sequential numbers too, like 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. And so I'm already catching 2 themes for us. Let's make sure it's like too roundabout. But one of them is fog. You don't have all the answers yet. The other one is portals and big changes coming your way. The fives and kind of steps, like things are happening sequentially, but kind of like in baby steps. Wow, the river's really high. So we had a huge rain maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And this river that you see here, I mean, it was like 7 inches of rain in a few hours or whatever. And the river here went up over its banks and about halfway up into that field that you see over there. And what's beyond those trees is a cemetery. And it just went over the banks. So the reason for this walking meditation is when in the subconscious there could be some PTSD. I've heard other Waysharers talking about this, working with their clients as well. There could be some PTSD in the chakras, Spirit is saying, having to do with other big changes that came up, and maybe they weren't so positive. They could be past life. They could be this life, where really big lessons had to be learned, and that change holds with it the kind of the energy around that change and what happened to you and they're saying how you absorbed it and how you worked with those energies of things changing left an imprint in your chakras. And so for some of you, all this talk about big changes coming could be bringing up some PTSD. Symptoms, I don't know if that's the right word. But could be just making you a little nervous about what's to come, especially with the fog included. Like, we don't know what we don't know. And we said in our new moon episode? I'm going to go up a little bit. We said in our new moon episode, we weren't being shown everything for a reason. And even though Spirit also said in the episode I did about the Pleiadian light language, the healing right before this one, for the prep, for the gateway, even though Spirit said, there is the promise of these great blessings coming for you based on all your hard work, things that you're trying to manifest, it still may feel uneasy and a little uncertain. And it could be bringing you out of balance. And this portal, we talked about the portal a lot on that Pleiadian light language show. So it is 1111 Gateway Prep. It's an episode right before this one. But we talked about kind of the purposes of the portal. And this particular episode is more about kind of getting you ready to step through it. And it doesn't really matter like when you're watching this. It's more about a certain mindset about it, about these changes that Spirit is wanting you to have, or wanting you to try to get back into this equilibrium about what's happening. So you're going through the portal door regardless. I mean, you've made it this freaking far, right? It's like you're stepping through the portal. Well, I guess you could say you don't want to. Like you could totally, oh, look at this. You could totally just say you were done with your spiritual journey and you're not going through these portals anymore. I guess you could say that, although most of you have come this far and I don't see any of you really turning back now. Spirit's saying, no, it's not going to happen. Because you're being almost, not like you're being forced to go, but you're being nudged to go through it. Gently nudged to go through it. 3 guys on a giant raft fishing. Quite interesting. Looks like it reminds me of something. Okay. So part of this, regardless of when you watch it, is to kind of calm your mind and help calm your spirits. Look, I like this. It's like we're walking through a gateway. And Brother in Darkness, I just found that theme so interesting. The message was Brother in Darkness. It's actually a card from one of, what's her name? You know how I am with names. I'll remember it when I don't need it anymore. But it is a card from an Isis deck. And we got these 3 cards I drew these 3 cards for us for the themes for November. It was Brother in Darkness, overcoming negativity with divine feminine power. So in this case, I don't know if it's so much negativity as it is your own inner demons. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Like your own inner demons coming up to kind of just, it's not like I want to say it's like the devil card, but it's not really the devil card. It's not really devil energy. It's more, it's past trauma, traumatic stuff. It's past trauma coming up that has not, it hasn't completely cleared your chakras. And you may think like, I've already done all this work on my chakras. Let me tell you, with Master Co, we do emotional healing and prosperity healing, like a deep, deep, deep healing. I mean, of the chakras at least once a week with the intention of purging out. I haven't really worked on PTSD, but anything that's of a lower vibration, purging out. And so it feels like it's so deeply rooted that it's going to take some concentrated work to release it. And oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite. These are all my favorite trees. But it's really kind of parenting the inner child as well. That everything's going to be fine. I just know like a personal story, and I was a child of like a military parent. So every 2 years, when I was little, my dad would like get reassigned to a different location, or he probably wanted to get reassigned, but I don't know, he would go serve. He was in the Coast Guard, so we did get to, the fun part was we did get to, so we're headed somewhere with this. The fun part was we did get to go like to beaches all the time, because the Coast Guard, you have to be stationed, like he would usually be stationed like on a cutter or something, and so he was an officer in the Coast Guard, and we would like go to all these fun places. But the downside to that, when you're little, you don't really know. Oh, I just saw 1, 2, 3, 4 on the thing. You don't really know. And so to get uprooted every 2 years when you're little is, and you're an empath and you're sensitive soul and all that, it's like a little unnerving to your soul. Even though maybe it's probably part of the soul's journey and all that. So for some of you, stuff like that, like being uprooted, being felt like you may be left behind. I mean, there's more to that story. I'm going to share the whole thing, but there was this like, it's the energy of kind of being uprooted, leaving things behind that you love, and not knowing like, am I going to find those? Just as an example, like, am I going to find new friends? Am I going to find in this new town? Am I going to like it? Are the kids at school going to be nice? Am I going to find people I like? And what's my new house going to be like? And am I going to really love it? I don't know. So these big changes are coming, and I think it's bringing up some inner child stuff about just uncertainty. I'm going to stop here because I hear like a little babbling brook sound. It's bringing up some stuff about uncertainty as well. Because the other day, especially for me, I was like, 555s were popping up everywhere, and I was like, okay, I got it. Big change is coming. And I know what some of these changes are. And the Spirit told me, like, this is all your wishes being granted. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but it still feels weirdly uncomfortable because you're not showing me everything. I'm like, why can't you just show me, here's where you're going to be 6 months from now, and here's how it's like, why can't you just show me that? It's like, not so easy, sister. Remember, you signed up for a spiritual path. So there is a trust exercise, a trust initiation exercise for many of you. Can you react differently than you've done in the past regarding things that you've been uncertain about, where Spirit has showed you like, oh, they've always worked out, but you're still kind of doubting, like, am I going to get what's for my highest and best good? Sometimes you tell me it's for my highest and best good, and it ends up being like a crappy lesson I have to learn. And, some of us are freaking tired, and we just, like, want our goodness. And it's like, we don't want another lesson. We just want to be comfortable and safe and peaceful, and let us just do our work sometimes. Sometimes I feel like the lessons are just like a little bit back to back. It gets kind of overwhelming. And I'm just listening to this, what's coming through. Okay, let me just channel it out as they're saying it. So they're saying that the promise is over the next 6 months, the energies are going to dissipate. The change will be coming, but it'll be coming in such a way that's graceful and peaceful and easy for your soul to understand and assimilate. But that they're saying you, like you and me and everyone listening, like you have to be able to dispel the negative thoughts around what you perceive to be wrong with what's going on. Because for some of you, they're saying that the change doesn't feel like your prayers being answered. It feels like it's a compromise. Oh, we've talked about this compromise thing before. It feels like it's a compromise, and they don't want you to see it that way. They want you to see it as a middle ground and a stepping stone to more of what you do want. I'm going to pause this for a minute and... All right, I wanted to move and come to a place where I could sit down. Actually, someone left a big giant chair over here. I saw it this morning when I was coming to walk the dog, but I'm like, I don't want to sit there. So, okay, let's just go back to what is it going to take to feel better about this? I do want to share, I was watching Dee at Consciousness Evolution Journey. I think she's got to be my favorite card reader of all times. I just love her. But she has done a series of 1111 portal readings. She did one for the collective, one for twin flame divine counterparts, and one for light workers and star seeds. But what she was saying is that 11/11/2021 adds up to a 9. 11/11/2022 adds up to a 1. So that this next year is more about closing out. We talked about this, that this next year is more about, from now until the next 11/11 portal, is all about tying up loose ends, and while still kind of bringing in the new, kind of concurrently. We did talk about this in the Pleiadian light language episode about being on concurrent 2 timelines at the same time, tying up loose ends while the new energies are coming in. So I'm not going to recap all of that. You can go back and listen to that. But that this 11/11 kind of was like, almost like sitting on top of 2 timelines. That the whole new is not completely here yet. It's just ramping up and getting started. And all of the old is not completely gone yet, as much as you want it to be. So I'll just leave that at that, and you can go back and listen to that. We talked all about karmic entanglement, karmic contracts, and so forth in that Pleiadian light language thing. So you don't have to do anything but scroll back 1 podcast episode or 1 video on the YouTube channel if you want to listen to that. So how do we help ourselves feel better? How do we dispel negativity with divine feminine power? How do we heal some of this PTSD, trauma, abandonment, feelings of stagnation? Because yes, it can make you stagnant. When I had a really major life lesson come up a while back, this time of year is kind of very stressful for me around this time of year, because that's kind of when this other life lesson started playing out, between like November and March. And it was so traumatic. I don't even want to go into it, because you that are empaths, I don't want you to feel it, but it was for me, I didn't handle it the best way that I could. I completely lost all trust in my guides and in Source, and I kind of just pretty much fell apart, and I didn't do anything. I remember I would just, because I knew this change was coming, but I knew there was nothing that I could do to stop it, and there was nothing I could do to control it. I just kind of like went into it was crazy. But I would lay there all day and I wouldn't do anything. I would just, even though I knew I had to do something, like I had to pack my house, I had to kind of get ready for this, there was a move involved and all that, like I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't exercise, I wouldn't go down to my favorite spots, which was the beach at the time. I did absolutely nothing. I didn't want to get up in the morning. I would like lay there under the covers, with my head under the covers. And I couldn't get up until like 11, 12, and then I would get up and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't eat. I just would like sit there in my room and I would just look out the window, and I would do that until like the end of the day, and then I would go to bed again. My poor family. And I did that for like maybe a couple of months. It was really bad, but I had to go through all of that purging. But now, and then everything ended up being fine. And in the end, the situation turned itself around. There was a bunch of life lessons attached to it, but the situation obviously turned itself around. The wheel turned. Everything I was afraid of never came to pass. Source even was kind of like, reestablished my bond with my guides, and it rebuilt all my trust, and it brought me to where I'm at now. And it, brought me all these life lessons and stuff that I can share with you guys. But it did leave this imprint deep in the mental body and the emotional body and in the chakras that is like a PTSD. Like every time this time of year rolls around, especially now that Source is saying like big changes coming, I get a little nervous about it. Even though I know everything's fine, and even though this time Spirit's like, no, it's the uptick of the other change, it's the balancing out. Like you had a like low point that for that one, and this one you're coming out of that to a high point, and you should be excited. Like it's 9 of Cups, 9 of Cups energy, and all your wishes being granted and all that. So I wouldn't be sharing this if those of you listening weren't kind of in the same energy, because Spirit only has me share personal examples, especially very personal ones like that, for people that really need to hear that. Number one, that I'm not, some guru on a pedestal somewhere who has no, well, actually gurus do, if they're good ones, do have a lot of personal experience to share. But then I'm not like, excuse me, then I'm not better than you. You know, everybody's going through their own life circumstances, and we're all in this thing together, you know, regardless of who we are. So I know I have a lot of, I do have quite a few younger listeners, like under the age of 25. And so I don't know what all, like, in my demographic is very wide. Like, I do have teenagers listening all the way up to people, you know, mid 60s, according to my audience demographics. But I can't break that down necessarily and see, like, okay, what age group listens to what types of shows, because I do such a wide variety of stuff. But older folks listening, I think you guys already know this, even though, hey, I consider myself like an older folk. Older folk. Young at heart. I'm young at heart. But the physical avatar is an older folk. I think a lot of you have already known this. Like, you've built up the trust with your guides, with God, with spirit, and you just know in your heart and your soul, like, everything's fine no matter what the change is. And you just kind of gracefully, like, look at these guys. Can I zoom? Like these little guys swimming by. You just kind of gracefully roll with the changes. Isn't that an REO Speedwagon song? Keep on rolling, roll with the changes. Got to. Anyway, and if you're a little bit younger in years, I'm not going to define what the younger in years means, but based on your life experience, you know, you could be feeling that kind of nervous anticipation coming up. So this is about supporting the inner child, as well as maybe supporting, those of you with kids, like supporting your own children through some of these changes. When that whole thing happens to me that I just talked about, you know, it wasn't just happening to me, it was happening to my whole family. I had a young child. My son was, I don't even know how old he was. Was he 10? He was 10 years old, I think. And I'm sure he was like, what the heck? Although he's very resilient, but I'm sure, you know, he was kind of like, what the heck's happening here? So healing the negativity, healing the PTSD, the trauma around big change coming. First of all, Spirit's saying this is a happy door that you're walking through, this 11:11. So when the day comes, and the energies are already here when you're listening to this, that you could choose to say, you know, I'm stepping through that gate now, and you could see the 11 and the 11 on either side of you as if it's a gate, and you can just see yourself. I usually set a little threshold down, like I'll set my staff down, or I'll draw a line or something, and I'll just physically like step over it as a symbolic way of showing like I've stepped into the new energies. I'm gonna go this way with the camera, but they are here for you to embrace. And how do we trust? How do we dispel these things with feminine power? What is feminine? What does that mean, feminine power? And it did also say, the other message that came with that was surrender to the divine. So maybe that's it. Surrender to the divine. And what does that mean to you? It could mean some energy work needs to be done. I really want to do some more shamanic work with you guys. But it could mean going to a shamanic practitioner. It could mean maybe we do some shamanic work. Maybe that's what we do at the end of the week or something. I don't know. That's our bonus episode. I'm pretty good at doing at least 2 to 3 shows a week, with one of them being like a wild card. Like maybe we'll do like some shamanic healing. But we have to go deep, and it's not just, they're saying one time is not really going to cut it for some of these situations. It's like you have to continue to build the trust, baby steps. You have to continue. You'll be shown so many signs and synchronicities, as many signs and synchronicities as you want, that everything's going to be fine. But you've got to believe that in your heart, and to believe that in your heart, you've got to get rid of some of this old stuff. So Reiki, shamanic healing, yeah, there's the curandero is coming up. So this is the river where I did put the despacho for the curandero blessings. So, it just sounds like you might need to go see a healer. Everyone cannot at this point. It depends on your resources. Like, there's plenty of healing videos out there on YouTube. Yeah, they're saying, why aren't you offering your services? Yes, I am available to work with people on stuff like that. You just have to message me. And my email is probably the best way to get a hold of me right now. It's at the bottom of all the show notes of every show. I am a initiated shaman. I do shamanic work, shamanic healing. Sandra Ingerman has been my teacher for quite some time. I don't have to blob out all my credentials. If you resonate with me, then, and you feel guided, then, I'm here to support you. That's part of what I do. That's part of my service work. And it definitely, I love Master Ko because he says he always gives a story, and I have to say, I think it's kind of funny. Because he's like, somebody needed some healing at one of their workshops or whatever. They had really bad back pain, and he tried to delegate to this person, and the woman said, that she stood there for the longest time not knowing what to do for the person that was in pain, and then he said, he asked her why aren't you doing anything? And she's like, well, I know 27 different healing modalities, and I'm not sure what to use on this person. And he's like, oh, okay, just let me handle this. And he just said he just stepped in, swept the person's aura, looked at what was going on, scanned the person's aura, did some clearing work with the violet fire and healing work, and he said in 5 minutes the person was fine. So I wouldn't get all caught up in credentials. He's like, I don't know 27 different healing modalities. I know one, and I know it really darn well because he's been practicing for 30 years or whatever. And I'm like, that's kind of me. I don't know 27. I do know quite a few different healing modalities. I have been certified in many. But when it all comes down to it, it all is clearing the energy. And the other stuff is just fancy frills around it. But in reality, it is all just clearing negative stuff out and putting good stuff in. And you can do it as a shaman, you can do it as a witch. It's all just the dog, or spirit saying it's the dog and pony show around just energy clearing work. So, yeah. So I'm going to change your frequency. I'm going to change your frequency here. Okay. You can try to do this work on your own. Many of you can. I can do it on my own too, but I have found times where things have been I don't want to admit to myself that something needs healing about a certain situation, and so I've just kind of put it off. And then I've been guided to seek out, a fellow practitioner, and they've been like, hello, no, you need to do this work. You need to do this energy work. And then I was like, dang it, I kind of knew I needed to do it, but I didn't want to do it. But now I feel like I need to really do it. So you can do it yourself, but sometimes there's things that you're not seeing clearly. Oh, this just came up last night. There's things you're not seeing clearly, and it might be best then to get a second, what do you want to say? Second opinion? A second set of eyes that are a clear channel. Okay, that are a clear channel, because sometimes you've put up walls around certain situations and things that need to be healed. So much so that you don't even see them as a problem or a thing that's affecting you. And it really is affecting you. And so you need to you need a clear channel who is somebody who's unattached emotionally and mentally and physically to what's going on, to be able to scan your aura and look at your Akashic records and all that and see what's happening. So this is not some shameless plug for me. I mean, this is a message for me too, because I'm like, oh, I do my own healing work all the time, every day, day in, day out, multiple times a day. You know, I clear and shield my energy. And it's just a message, you know, as best as you can with whatever resources you have, and just ask. Like, you just have to open yourself up to, like, yeah, I think I need to work with a practitioner, or maybe you are a practitioner and you want to, like, exchange services or something. Like, we should do that here on the show. We should have like a barter, like an exchange service in a sense. I wanted to set this up one time on my website, and I don't know why I didn't, where if you're a practitioner, we could just kind of get together like a little consortium and just exchange services with each other, as well as offer our services to the general public, maybe at a discounted rate. So kind of be more of like I don't know if it's not really nonprofit, but it's more like sliding scale work, they're saying. So I know quite a few people here listen to this show. If any of you are practitioners, we need to look at that. But this is, okay, that's totally secondary to this. I did want to put that out there though. So the portal, I'm just going to sum it all up. The portal is here. You can choose to step through it whenever you like. You may have some healing work that you're not seeing that needs to be done about clearing sensitivities, trauma, and PTSD and stress around what happens when you hear that big change is coming, especially over the next year, helping you to rebuild your trust in the divine and helping you to be better able to surrender to the divine and feel like you're actually supported, feel like you're not hanging out there on a limb. So let me just check in as the fog starts to lift and the sun comes out and see if there's anything else that they want me to say. Okay. So they're saying that is all. They are complete. So I want to thank you all so much for listening. Happy, blessed 11/11. And we will talk to you all again in the next episode. Take care.